Hey, welcome to a live question and answer. This is exciting. I love doing lives with you guys. I'm Cass from Clutterbug if you are new here, and I'm going to be talking all things organization and decluttering. And I love doing this because if you have personalized questions, you're like, listen, I really need help with this one thing. That's what this is all about. Oh, it's your first live. How exciting. And hey, let me know if you can hear me okay and you can see me okay. And if everything's going good. We have a ton of questions that were asked ahead of time. So I'm going to show you some of those, and then I'm going to start getting into your questions. So be patient. Hold on to your questions. And sometimes it's really helpful if you put a question mark at the beginning of your question so it kind of stands out from the other comments. And then we can definitely get to that. Audio sounds good. Thank you so much. Um, you're a complete knob. I love it, Karen. Hi, welcome. Oh, a fellow Donna's from Ontario too. It's hello, fellow Canadian. You're like a neighbor to me. That's very exciting. Hello and welcome. First time, April. I'm excited to have you here. Thanks so much. This is very exciting. We're going to give everybody just a few minutes to join. Jan, you're here. You did it. Hello and welcome. I'm glad you made it. I'm so glad to have you here. Um, Thank you guys, everyone, so much. So many really great questions today asked ahead of time. I'm going to jump into those in 1 second, and then we're going to go ahead and get to your personalized questions. So get those, like, think about them in the back of your head. Don't ask them yet. In a few minutes, you will definitely go ahead and put them into the comments. If you could put a little question mark, that would be great. And then, um, and then I'll get to those. Yeah, Miss Sting fan, listen, I should be packing more. I'm terrible, but we're at the new house. I'm actually painting a table right now because I'm bonkers, because I'm cheap, you guys, because I'm cheap. And I don't want to spend any money decorating this house, but we don't have enough furniture or things to go in it. So I found a $40 hideous table and I'm painting it instead of packing right now. But I thought I'd jump over here and say hi to you guys because I like spending time with you, and alive is just is a really fun thing. It, is this live a form of procrastinating? Yes, it is. 100%. I am procrastinating all the things I should be doing, which is packing and cleaning and moving. And instead of, I'm hanging out with you guys. So that is very true. Okay, let's just jump in. Let's jump into some of the questions you guys asked ahead of time because I thought that these were really good. And then I'm going to get to your questions. So, Elizabeth says, every time you try to keep your house tidy, you follow like a system, but you constantly have to remind your teenage son's husband to use it. A simple example. You bought a magnet for the dishwasher that says clean on one side, dirty on the other side, and they always forget to flip it to the correct side. If the dishwasher's empty, they still leave their dishes in the sink no matter how many times you remind them. It's simple stuff like this. How can you get them to pick up after themselves and follow simple systems, even if it's just flipping a magnet? I just want to say one thing. I would never remember to flip a magnet. Let me know in the comments if you feel me there. Like, I know it seems simple, this system, but I'm going to guess that Elizabeth is probably a bee or a cricket. She's probably a person, or even if not, it's her system. So it seems simple to her. But to remember to flip a magnet when I've never flipped a magnet before, it's like introducing this new habit. And that's the same as tidying. If you're not in the habit of putting your dirty dishes in the dishwasher when you're done with them and you're in the habit of putting them in the sink, it's not that you're being lazy. You're not thinking about it. So you're just doing it. So here's what we need to do. We need to train ourselves and train your family to do this. And the simple way to do that is to set reminders of tidy up times. So what I would do is, first of all, none of your family members are allowed to leave the kitchen after dinner without the kitchen being clean. And then every night before bed, and probably in the morning or wherever they're around, make sure they have reminder alarms of the things they need to do. And I know this is annoying, but it's more annoying if you have to be the alarm and remind them. But this is how I trained myself to be a tidy person because I'm a slob. I'm a huge slob. And these alarms that would go off to like put your bathroom counter stuff away, Cass, you complete and utter slob, or tidy up the kitchen, or really tidy up those hot spots. Every time the alarm would remind me to do it, and I would start putting dishes in the dishwasher or start putting my brush or my makeup away, now I'm in the habit of putting things away, so I no longer need the alarms eventually. We're actually creating new habits. So we can't expect someone to follow a system magically out of nowhere. It takes training. And flipping a magnet, that just might be one step too far, friend. It's probably not what you want to hear. But the truth is, it might be I would just get rid of the magnet. Guess what? If you open it and it's smelly and dirty, it's dirty. And if you open it and it's clean, it's clean. And I know that seems really silly, but as someone who has ADHD and who is not a detailed person, I'm a fly by the seat of my pants, hot mess sandwich. I wouldn't use a magnet, and I think that's okay. But I'm still tidy. I still pick up after myself. The garage, it's my husband's space to fix and putter, but you can never find anything you need for household jobs like hammer, mallet, screwdrivers. How can I get some organization in this space that is mostly his when he's not really interested in my way of organization? So, right off the bat, you guys definitely probably organize differently, but because that's his space, you kind of got to go with his organizing style. My husband and I have completely different organizing styles. He's very meticulous. Every screwdriver has some weird little screwdriver home. Every screw and every nail is all sorted into little bento boxes. So when I used his tools, things got crazy. So two things I'm going to suggest to you. One, he's probably visual. Does he have systems in the garage that completely complement his style? So, is it visual? Is it really easy to put away? Is it just as easy to put away as it to put down? Pegboards are really a must, especially for butterflies, right? Just like it's obvious where things go, he's going to put it back there because it's so simple and it's so visual that he will. So, right off the bat, I would recommend that. The next thing I would recommend is get yourself a toolbox, friend. I got a pink set. It's junk, but it has all the things I need. It has a little drill and a little screwdriver and a hammer and all the things, and it's awesome. And I love my pink tool set. It doesn't have to be pink, but having your own tools, not only is it empowering, I mean, especially for me as a woman, like I don't need no man or his tools to have your own, but also you can keep it in the house. You don't have to run to the garage, and you guys don't have to like disagree on how to organize those things. So I think your own tool set is important. And I also think it's important to have those everyday tools, a separate set in the house, anyways, because every time you want to change a battery, or every time you need to just fix a little something, you don't want to always have to run to the garage. So those basic things like screwdrivers, hammer, flashlight, measuring tape, I would keep a small set of those type of things in the house at all times. Okay, let's see what we got next. Oh, this is my tool set. I have a bag, and plus I have this like thing, and it has it's awesome sauce. It's all covered in paint. So Joe doesn't mind though because it's mine. Okay. Megan says, talk to me about surface clutter. You're drowning in it as a bee with ADHD, prone to doom piles. You need a permanent solution, but you don't have time to do it right. And husband is a ladybug, so he just stashes stuff out of sight when he cleans. 13-year-old butterfly with ADHD, everything she touches is chaos. 8-year-old ladybug, everything she stashes in a giant bin. 6-year-old, basically a hoarder, keeps everything visual, so nothing is visual. Jesus, this is so many children. 4-year-old, stuffy addict, but really good at laundry. She's a kind of a butterfly because of her age, but you suspect she's going to be more of a bee. And a 1-year-old. The children keep coming, Megan. She's constantly getting into everything and dragging things out all over the house, but she's also constantly going behind people, throwing things in the trash. You suspect one day she might be very tidy. How do you get a handle on this chaos? with all the different bug types, no systems that work for any length of time, 7 people in the house, you're far over your clutter threshold. That's what I was going to say. And you just want to cry, but you know you just can't throw everyone's stuff out without their consent or it will happen again and again. What advice do I have to help shift our family culture about stuff so you can embrace less is more? This is such a good question. And reading that, the first thing I was going to say, the more children you have, the less stuff you have to have. So decluttering, decluttering. You are so over your clutter threshold and having less stuff is important. And I know how you're saying like you don't want to declutter other people's things. But here's what I've found works not only in my family, but in so many other families of clients that I've worked with and people like you that I've talked to is you start with your stuff and you as the leader of the household are kind of like the Pied Piper. You do something and everyone kind of follows suit. So decluttering parties are really fun. Give everybody a bag. Who can find the most things to go or who can find 30 things to leave from their room? And give everyone a bag and put on some fun music and go. Make decluttering part of your routine. Make it fun. Make it a challenge. Make it a family thing. And if you're leading from a place of this is awesome, this isn't a chore, this is something we're doing because we deserve it, because it's going to feel so good to have a house that's easy to manage, everyone else is going to feel that energy too. And everyone else is going to go along with that too. Now, when we're talking about your surfaces, though, everybody's surfaces get cluttered, even minimalists, because they're putting things down, those everyday hot spots. We all have them. So something that you can do, I don't know if I have a picture of that. Oh, I have this. Okay. So a weekly tidy up routine for sure. Tidying is super important and having a routine of tidying. So putting things away on a regular basis is going to train you and your children to put things away instead of putting them down. But the other thing that you can do is a tray system on your clutter hotspots. So anytime you have a tray system like this, it's going to kind of be the limit. It's going to be that visual limit of, oh, this is full. I'm not just going to keep spreading the pile. And it stops the clutter from becoming overwhelming. So, trays, shallow baskets, any type of clutter catching system that you can put, any basket really, on those clutter hotspots is really going to help you. Okay, so we can probably get into one of your questions now. We've been doing this for a while. So let's go ahead and pop up one of your questions here. Guard self, best way to deal with older kids' childhood things, school stuff, memories throughout your son's life. And so he's older now. I would give him a treasure box. So grab a memory bin, one big tote. Don't worry about organizing it. Don't worry about sorting it. Put anything special, trophies, maybe clothes, photos, mementos, stick them in the box. He can go through and kind of experience the box himself. It doesn't have to be perfectly organized, but the trick here is one tote. Your your adult children don't want more than one. They don't. They want a curated collection of the best of the best. This is such a gift that you can give to them. So grab a big tote from the hardware store and just put things in. Don't worry about organizing it. Maybe there's a photo here, maybe there's a photo here, maybe there's a report card here, maybe there's a trophy here. That's okay. That's part of the fun of going through this sort of like treasure box experience. And anything that doesn't fit, you have to decide, is this thing more worthy than anything in the tote? And you're kind of pulling things out and putting other things in until you have one beautiful collection to give to him, and everything else goes. Go ahead and shred those photos, throw them out. It's okay. I'm giving you permission. The trophies, it's okay. You don't need to keep everything. In fact, you shouldn't keep everything. You should only keep the best of the best, because when you keep everything, if everything's important, nothing's important. And you're really diluting the whole point of this memory treasure box. So you got this. I'm giving you permission. Get rid of it. It's a real gift to them. Don't burden your children with 20 years worth of memories that they now have to decide what was important and what wasn't when they barely remember a lot of, right? Like, give them the gift of creating a cultivated collection for them. Okay, do we want to get another question really quick? Indie Princess, I love your name. When both you and your husband are ADHD and naturally messy, but you want to do better, what do you recommend for getting started? You talk about being better a lot, but you have yet to actually follow through. Oh God, I feel this so hard. I feel this because anytime I wanna create a new habit, I'm always like, "Tomorrow's the day. I'm gonna be a new person. I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna be awesome, and I'm gonna eat kale, and I'm gonna go for a run," and I never follow through, and I was the same way about getting tidy and organized, and I didn't really make a difference until I did 2 things. One is I started decluttering a lot, going through because that's something you can do at any time and for, like, 5 minutes, and it doesn't go back to messy again, like, as messy because the stuff has left your house. You could tidy all day, friends, and it's a mess again tomorrow, but when you're getting stuff out, you're getting further ahead. You're taking a step forward that you can never take back unless you go to the store and buy a bunch of crap, but you know what I'm saying? You're inching forward. So I saw a huge difference in a short amount of time when I started working smarter, not harder, and started getting stuff out. The second thing you do is you gotta train your brain. You're in the habit of being messy. I was in the habit of being messy too. I would use something, squirrel, and move on. With ADHD, we're not thinking about what we're gonna do. We're done with our AirPods. We're not thinking, "Oh, I'm done with my AirPods. I'm gonna put this back in the AirPod." We're like, done with the AirPods. If it goes back in the case, it's a miracle, right? But we're certainly not worried about this is wherever we are done with it. But if we set timers and alarms to tidy our spaces a few times a day, we're going to grab that AirPod case and we're going to open up the drawer or put it away. And now we're training our brain. Oh, it goes here. It goes here. Every day is the key. Every day is the key. 15 minutes is what I did, nighttime cleaning routine, changed my freaking life. I started instead now of just putting something down, my brain was already in the habit of putting it in a certain place. So now subconsciously, I'm putting it in that place. I could never have done that if I didn't have alarms to remind me to do a 15-minute tidy up, and it's non-negotiable. Like I have made this an all or nothing. I do not go to bed without doing a 15-minute nightly tidy up routine. I'm not allowed. I don't care if I'm puking, I don't care. I am not allowed, and I've had to be like, that's my non-negotiable. I do not go to bed with dishes in the sink, and I do not go to bed without doing a 15-minute tidy up. Non-negotiable. And that, I know it doesn't sound like a big thing, 15 minutes, changed my home, changed my life for freaking sures. Okay, we'll get another one of your questions in 1 second. I got, let's talk about Laura. Since you've moved into a different home in April, your struggle is organizing these cabinets. Here's some photos. You have a fractured disc. So all the stuff in the cabinets is on the table so you can cook easier. Yeah, these cabinets stink, right? Because they're down low and the stuff is kind of back in the corner, but it isn't like lazy Susan-ish type spot. It's just crazy annoying. So there's a couple of things. One, it's really good to keep big stuff down here that you don't use very often. So you can keep larger appliances down here. You can keep big soup pots or even pots and pans, anything that maybe your air fryer. Think bigger things so you're not having little things lost in the back because that's annoying. So that's something you can do that's totally free. And then if you want to, there are investments that you can make. I'm not going to say this is cheap. Listen, this is not cheap, but it might be worth it, especially if you have a bad back. You can go to the hardware store, you can go to IKEA, you can go even on Amazon, and they sell a lot of inserts that kind of like take advantage of that space that's wasted in the back. I especially love this little like raising up thingamajigger for your The word is mixer because you can still reach and get to the things in that back, but now you've given a place to your stand mixer that lifts up when you need to get behind. So it's really taking advantage of that square footage, as is these like slider outy things. So you don't have to reach, get on your hands and knees and dig back there. You can get one of these systems that pull it out, which is really great. I see some people that are like, please answer Kim's question, but I don't see Kim's question. So I'm going to try to find it. Oh, is this one? Kim, is it this one? What's your advice on decluttering with depression and exhaustion? Just day to day is insanely hard to do, let alone adding decluttering. Yeah, I mean, Kim, I hear you. I haven't struggled with depression, but I first want to say I hope you're talking to someone. I hope you're looking at getting medication and extra help. There's no shame in that. And I think we need to talk more openly about our mental health struggles. When it comes to exhaustion, I feel you. I think we're all exhausted, and I think there's a real misconception when it comes to decluttering like, oh, I got to do one more huge ridiculous chore. It's going to take forever. I don't have time for this. This is one of the biggest lies that we tell ourselves when it comes to decluttering, because here's the truth, Kim. Letting go, every one thing you let go of, not your AirPods because they're awesome, but I just grabbed this because this is all I have. Whatever it is, it's going to give you time. It's going to take something off your plate. And this doesn't have to be you're not trashing your house here. I want you, Kim, right now to look around, open a drawer. Is there something that can go? 1. I want you to count to 10. Can you find something to go in 10 seconds? What can leave? Everything we're celebrating. I just found 2. I just found 3 things that can go in 10 seconds. That's the secret. And that's how I did it. Running a daycare, having kids, I was exhausted. I definitely had postpartum depression. And I just was like, I got 5 minutes, man. I got 5 minutes to find something to leave. And then I was consistent and I did it again the next day. And I did it again the next day. And guess what, Kim? A lot of it went in the trash. And a lot of it was good stuff. A lot of it was stuff I should have donated. I could have taken the blankets and the towels to the Humane Society. I could have done all these things. But you know what? I needed to just get it out. I had decision fatigue. And if I had to worry about where it was all going and what charity, and even driving it to Goodwill was too much. And there's a lot of people who would say, "Oh, that's awful." Well, you know what? I'm so happy that you are so blessed that you've never had to experience that level of exhaustion, that level of overwhelm, where it's not a big deal for you to just drive to Goodwill. But for a lot of people, that's too much. And the way we get out of this cycle and feel less exhausted and get to the point where we're not feeling overwhelmed is having less of work around us. And everything you own is work. And so throw it in the garbage, Kim. I'm here to give you permission. There is no shame. Get a garbage bag, leave it in the corner of your room, and every day put a few things in it. Do not feel shame. I don't care if it's a baby item that could be donated right now. If you don't have the capacity to worry about selling or donating or fixing or mending or painting or all of these things to your stuff so it's good enough to let go, we're just getting it out of the house because you deserve it. Because you deserve a space that feels effortless, that feels like manageable, that doesn't feel like you've just spent an hour tidying and now it's a disaster again the next day. And the reason that happens is because we have way too much stuff. And we don't have to be minimalists, but we do have to be realistic about the amount of stuff that we can manage ourselves. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and answer another one of your questions, and then I'll answer some of the other questions too. How do you deal with paper clutter? Your file system is stuffed, not sure what to keep or not to keep. So if you go to my website, I have a paper organizing guide that will show you like long term versus short term and all that good stuff to tell you what to keep and what not to keep. But let's just get real here. If you haven't used it for tax purposes, so if you have like receipts or you have bills, maybe your electricity bill or a gas bill, a water bill, and you didn't use that as a business write-off for your taxes, why the heck is it in your house? Why is it there? Monthly bank statements gone. Stop it. You do not need this. And anything that's tax related that's over 7 years, you don't need to keep. So, you're dealing with your paper clutter is only an issue when we keep too much. And we shouldn't be keeping like, we should keep like 1% of the paper coming into our house. So how do you deal with this? How I deal with this is I have a different system called an action file, which is like things I have to deal with, bills I need to pay, stuff I need to like file or something. And then I have a short term. This means things I've already dealt with, but I'm not sure if I need to keep it forever yet or not. I don't know if I'm gonna use it for taxes. I don't know if, like, the bank's gonna come back and say, "You didn't really pay that electricity bill." And so I have a short term, and then once a year, I go through my short term, and I move the really important things like contracts or tax things to long term, and everything else gets shredded. So I only deal with paper. I pay the bills every week, but I only file paper 1 day a year, and it's hardly anything that I end up keeping. And this is like life freaking changing, man. Life life changing. So bankruptcy papers, I just saw one here. Sorry, my bad. Bankruptcy papers you need to keep for as long as you have bankruptcy. So it's usually 7 years, sometimes it's 5, which is nice. As soon as you're out of bankruptcy, you don't need the papers anymore. Done and done. Okay, let's ask this question here. Uh where to start when everywhere you look is cluttered, and how to find the time to do it? You love the way I help people. Thank you. And it always looks so lovely when you're finished. I wish you were in UK. Okay. When I go into somebody's house and do a makeover, I just got to say this. First of all, I've had like a bazillion years of practice decluttering people's homes, so I go super fast. I have concrete rules of what we're keeping and what we're not that are predetermined, negotiated with the homeowner. There's clear rules. And I think that's like super important so that you're not second guessing. It makes things go a lot faster. And the third thing is, it's a lot easier to declutter other people's stuff. 'Cause I'm not emotional about it. I'm like, "Listen, that's I don't that's not a rule. That's the rule. It can go now." And so it's a lot faster to do it. But when you're looking around and everything feels cluttered, you feel overwhelmed, you start to panic, you start to think this is gonna take forever, so you don't get started. And this is 99% of the reason your house is out of control or feels like it never stays tidy is because when is the last time you actually filled a bag to go? Like, not just trash, like, of food trash, but, like, looked inside cabinets and found a whole bag or a whole box of stuff to go. 1, that you don't have to do the whole space. When is the last time you actually let a bunch of stuff go? And then did you do it again the next day? Or did you do it one time, you got a 1 bag or 2 bags, and you haven't done it for months or even years since? That's not realistic. I'm telling you, here's the honest truth. When you first start decluttering, it's a bag a day. It's a bag a day for a month or 2 months. You need to get rid of 60, 70 bags of stuff to see a difference in how much easier your life is. And I know you're gonna have nothing left. Everybody thinks this like, "Oh, that's great. That's insane." No, that's the truth. And the reality is you probably won't even notice because we're looking for things in all your hidden spots. We're looking for those blankets you haven't used in 10 years, the clothes that don't fit you anyways, all the baby stuff that your children have outgrown. This is not your special things you love. This is all the extra things that don't matter. So where do you start? How do you get it done fast? It's a bag a day. Be really honest. I'm curious, when is the last time, let me know in the comments, you actually got rid of an entire trash bag filled with donations? Or like, when's the last time you filled a whole box and got things out? Honest. Be really honest because I think it's probably less often than you think. Okay, let's go ahead and get to another one of your questions really quickly. Lily, you've been moving You'll be moving out in a couple of months. You'll be living on your own for the first time. Do you have any tips for butterfly organizer to keep things organized like closets? Yeah, I wish I had photos for you. Just definitely going with uh, open storage. And I don't have a photo of a closet. Let me see what I got here. If you could do a closet system with shelves like this and have baskets, label them if you're a butterfly, where you can toss things away quickly, or even better yet, big enough shelves that you can slide a clean laundry hamper onto. A lot of butterflies, they're living out of clean laundry baskets on the floor. And this is their habit and it works for them, but they feel guilty that like they should be putting it in a dresser or they should be hanging it up, but they're not doing it. Who made the rules that that's how you had to put away your laundry? Take that clean laundry hamper and slide it on a shelf and shut the closet doors and move on with your life. Honestly, I've had tons of clients where I've done open closet systems and it's just laundry hampers on shelving and they never have mess again. Another thing that you could do is an open closet system. So, like taking off the closet doors or getting yourself an alpha or a closet made system and putting it right on the wall. Because if you see it, you're more likely to keep it tidy and you're more likely to actually wear that stuff. So, I know again, that's like scary or like, who would want to do that? It works for butterflies, and butterflies don't mind seeing their clothing if it looks like a store, if it looks beautiful, if all your shirts are color coordinated or your purses are out there. Bees and butterflies are like, "Ah, this looks good. I want this." So you're way more likely to keep it tidy. But, listen, my daughter who's 16, 17, if I was setting up her system for the first time, I would just have shelving where she could put the clean laundry basket. She doesn't mind digging through to find her underwear or shirt or her pants, right? What she minds is putting it away in a different way. So that's the system I would definitely recommend. Okay, do we have another question that we can get to real quick? Swedish death cleaning. What do I think of this, Joanne? I personally haven't done this, but I think it's awesome. I watch a lot of YouTube videos of people who have done it. I think this is an awesome technique. I think any decluttering technique is awesome. Swedish death cleaning is basically going through your home and thinking, I mean, I haven't read the book, but I'm getting the gist of it, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Joanne, but it's like if I croak tomorrow, what do I not want to burden my loved ones with? Like, what is not special enough to pass down? What is just in here because it's in here? And obviously, we're not getting rid of the stuff you actually use, but it's a different way of looking at your home and your stuff. And the fact that it really is a burden when a loved one passes away and now their children or their spouse has to go through and get rid of all their stuff, clear out all their stuff. There's so much guilt and shame and work that you're now putting on your loved ones to deal with the stuff that you just never got around to dealing with. Because 90% of it isn't even stuff you really wanted to keep anyways. You just never made the time to let it go. So when we declutter with that in mind, that we're doing this as a gift to our children and our spouse, if something would pass to us, it's so motivating because a lot of us, when we're doing it for ourselves, we can't find the motivation for us, but we can find the motivation for the people we love. And so it's a way of shifting the way we're thinking in order to actually get up and start decluttering. And for me, like I have decluttered so much more with the thought change of what's worthy of moving to my new home and what isn't worthy of moving to my new home. And Swedish death cleaning is exactly the same thing. I'm pretty sure it's that shift in mentality of like, is this worth burdening my family with after I'm gone? And if the answer is no, it's got to go. And it's a kindness, it's a way of loving your family, this type of decluttering, which makes it a lot harder for people because it's hard to let go for yourself sometimes. I want you to look around your house though and think, if I died tomorrow, would this be a burden to my children? to have to go through this? And would this be a burden to my spouse to have to go through and get rid of all this stuff and decide what's important and what isn't? And if the answer is yes, it's time to grab a bag or a box. Okay. Oh, Maya, hi. Thank you. I love this. Thank you so much, so much. What other YouTubers do I actually watch regularly? I really suck as a YouTuber because I feel a lot of I get imposter syndrome. So when I watch really good other YouTubers, I feel a lot of like, why are they so much better than me? I got to try harder. Why do I suck so at this? Why is my hook not good? Why am I not interesting as them? Why is my videography not as good as them? Why is my editing not as good as them? And I can spiral really quickly. So I try to avoid watching other YouTubers for this reason. That's so bad to say. But it's the truth. I love Catherine from Do It on a Dime and Dawn from The Minimal Mom and that awkward mom, Ariel. She's a newer YouTuber that I really love watching. But I still feel a lot of it's not good for my mental health. So if I am on YouTube, it's a lot of pimple popping. That's gross. That's the truth, though. Okay, sorry. We'll go ahead and get to another question of yours. I love spending time with you guys. So yeah, let's do this. Cleo, you're heading towards hoardism. Your house is not dirty, but you have an obsession with recycling. Also, you've gone over the Amazon sale, lots of cutesy things. Who do I hire to help me? A professional organizer? Yeah, for sure. A professional organizer, I would just make sure that they're a professional organizer that specializes in decluttering, not just making things pretty. What you really need is somebody to come in there and give you some tough love, to push you out of your comfort zone and help you let go, especially if a lot of the stuff that's in your home is trash. So if you are like, I want to recycle properly, I want to make sure I'm doing it right, I want to save the earth, I'm keeping every tin can, everything to make sure I'm doing it right. Now your house is filled with actual trash. Let's get somebody in here who's going to give you permission. It's okay to just start fresh. You need a fresh start. This is what you need, Cleo. You need a clean slate, and the right professional organizer can come in, give you peace of mind, help you unburden yourself, and start fresh. And that's what I would recommend. Absolutely hiring somebody, just making sure that there's somebody who is a decluttering expert, not just putting something in pretty containers expert for sure. Okay, we'll get to another one. Stephanie, any advice on how to declutter your university papers and books? You guess it's identity clutter and maybe fantasy clutter because you can only work part time due to health reasons. Thank you. Yeah, Stephanie, my husband had the hardest time. I've had so many clients. They've kept every notebook, every binder, every textbook from university. And when I say, how many times have you opened this or referenced it? The answer is 100% of the time, never. You will never reference your textbooks from university ever. You can find that stuff online. You will never go back through your university papers. If there's something that's like, oh, this means so much to me, we're putting it in your memory bin. Otherwise, Stephanie, I'm giving you permission to just let them go. Donate those textbooks back to the university if you want. Sometimes you can sell the textbooks if they're not out of date. You can get some money back. Absolutely. If you're like, listen, Cass, I'm probably never going to do that, I'm giving you permission to just recycle those bad boys. I know some of you watching. I know some of you watching this are like, oh, Cass is just terrible for the earth. Listen to me. Your house is not an alternative to a trash heap. If you died tomorrow, people would throw it in the garbage. So, like, don't hoard things with the intention of always finding a way to properly one day, maybe I'm going to find the best. I'm going to recycle it. I'm going to make quilts out of these clothes. I'm going to mend these things. I'm going to do all these amazing things. If this is your mentality, you are literally like drowning in your own to-dos, and you are really bullying yourself because every time you look around, you're just like, it's one more thing that you feel like you have to get to in the future, and you're going to feel lazy, and you're going to feel like you're not trying hard enough, and you're going to feel really bad about yourself. And so your house is not an alternative to a trash can. It's just you start fresh, give yourself a clean slate. Here's the amazing thing that's going to happen when you unburden yourself and take stuff off your plate. You're going to have time to do it right. You're going to have time to actually make a quilt because you're not drowning in a million other things that you should be doing. You're going to have time to actually craft. You're going to have time to enjoy your life. When everything is, I'm going to get to it later, we start denying ourselves pleasure today. Oh, I can't go out with friends. I should be cleaning the garage. Oh, I can't sit and watch a movie. I should be cleaning the kitchen. So what do? We don't actually clean the kitchen. We're scrolling social media. We're procrastinating. We're not having fun because we don't want to have fun because we should be working, but we're not working either because it's too overwhelming. It's time, instead of trying to juggle all the balls, to throw some of those balls in the trash, to just put them down, to get them out of your house, to stop so that you have the space mentally and physically to just enjoy your life. And we don't have to feel guilty about this. There's no guilt here. You're going to feel guilty, but you're going to do it anyways because you are more important, because your happiness is more important, because your time is more important. And do not let anybody else shame or guilt you into telling you the right way to do things. No one's going to know. Just throw it out. And guess what? Tomorrow, you will never think of that stuff ever again. If you got rid of your university textbooks, Kim, you'll never think about them ever in your life ever again. They're gone. They're gone. Boop, gone. You're not going to feel guilty tomorrow. It's okay. Just let them go, friends. Okay, let's get into a couple. We're going to do just a couple more questions. I love spending time with you guys. From Heather. Have you heard of mirroring and that we actually stop procrastinating and get stuff done when another person is in the room for us? Does that really work? Yeah. So I call this body doubling. And this is actually a really effective technique for motivation, especially for people who struggle with ADHD. And that person doesn't have to be doing the same thing as you, they just have to be in the room with you. And so body doubling is incredible. And it really works with a ton of clients that I've worked with. It works with my daughter, Izzy. Just having somebody beside you can motivate you to do it. But virtual body doubling or mirroring actually works too. So, doing a Zoom call with somebody, going online, having a group, and know that everybody's doing it together, which I think is why our all day live declutter as part of the Take Your House Back course that I do is so effective. People who have never decluttered anything in their lives are now getting rid of like 40 trash bags and boxes in one day. And they're like, how? It's because thousands of us are all doing it at the same time. We're posting pictures, we're holding ourselves accountable, we're chatting back and forth, and we're all like live together doing this. And it really it does. It gets your motivation going. It gets that momentum. So call a friend. Say like, "Hey, can we clean our houses together today? Can we declutter together just on the phone with each other?" Or invite them over for a decluttering party and then you go to their house and do the same thing. Insanely effective, which is why when people hire me as a professional organizer, they're like, "Wow, I got so much done. This is incredible. Cass, you're a miracle worker." I always think, I really didn't do anything except stood here and said, "You can do it." And they did 90% of the work. Okay, let's get a couple more of your questions. Melissa D, you counted, you have only over 75 shirts hanging in the closet. You wear maybe 20 of them. Another 40 would fit if you lost 40 pounds. Why can't you get rid of them? Melissa, listen, here's some tough love for you. Friend, those shirts that don't fit you unless you lose weight are toxic, nasty bullies. Every time you look at them in your closet or in your drawer, do you know what those clothes say? Melissa, you're overweight. You're not good enough. You don't look good enough to wear me. You're letting a t-shirt call you names and really bully you. And that's the first thing that you're hearing in the morning when you wake up. The first thing that you're hearing when you open your closet is your clothing telling you that you're not good enough and that you don't look good enough. And that makes me sick that that's happening to you. And I'm so sorry. And listen, Melissa, I want you to take all of those out. You don't have to get rid of them, but they cannot stay in your closet. Put them in a vacuum seal bag and stick them under your bed, or put them in the basement, or put them in somewhere else. They cannot stay in your closet. And anyone else who's watching this, please hear me. If you have clothing in your closet that when you put it on your body, you tell yourself you're too fat, you're not toned enough, you're not skinny enough, you're not tall enough, you're not pretty enough to wear that piece of clothing, get it out now. That's awful. That is the most toxic, that is the most self-deprecating thing that we can do to ourselves is keep clothing like this in our closet because it's nasty. It's not motivating us. In fact, when I used to have a ton of clothes in my closet that didn't fit me, I would feel so bad. And when I feel bad about myself, I eat. And so it's like every morning it's this cycle, right? Please, they got to go. I want you to pack them up. If you if you're like, "Listen, I can't afford to buy new clothes if I lose weight," cool. Let's put them somewhere else for now. But I'd also challenge you that when you do lose that weight, you're going to want to treat yourself to new clothes, even if they're from the thrift store, because that's the best part of losing weight is getting to buy new clothes. So maybe keep your favorites, or if you're really stressed, keep them all, but never keep them in your closet. Never keep them a place that you see them every day because they are toxic, nasty bullies and they have to leave your closet like right now. Like Kim, right now. Right now, go get them and get them out. Throw them in a suitcase. I don't care. They cannot stay in there, man, because that's awful. That's an awful, awful thing that you're doing to yourself. And you deserve better because you're beautiful and you're perfect the way you are today. And if your clothing doesn't make you feel that way, it's got to go. It's got to go. Okay, let's get another question real quick. Lisa, you need advice on tactfully telling your older B sibling um, that has to obey the container limit. Everything is everywhere and multiplying. Wait. You need advice on tactfully telling your older B sibling that they have to obey the container limit. Everything is everywhere and multiplying. Please help. Oh man, do you live with this sibling or not? So, if you live with this sibling, it's a little bit different. If you don't live with this sibling and this is their house, you're saying nothing, friend, because decluttering is important for you and having a home that is manageable is right now important for you, but you can't make anyone else care about this. And unfortunately, giving unsolicited advice to somebody can really backfire. And a lot of bees have hoarding issues. A lot of bees really struggle to let go. But the worst thing you can do to a hoarder, oh, I just got a note. You live with her temporarily. This is different, friend. You're living there. Yeah. So this, how do you, oh, this is rough. Have they watched any decluttering videos with you? Have you decluttered some of your own stuff and made comments like, "Oh, it feels so good." Does the room that you're in, is everything in its place? Can you like casually bring into like it actually feels really good to let go? Do you want to do this with me? Do you want to declutter with me? Watch videos of decluttering transformations on YouTube together. Watch shows together about this whole process. Get your sister excited about the possibility of living with less. Show the positive side that comes from that because when bees think about decluttering, sometimes it's all like I have to take from you. You're taking from me. I have to let go. I have to give up. And that feels very negative, and that's very scary, especially to bees. How can we be like, how am I going to give myself the kitchen that I deserve? How am I going to gift myself more time to actually craft? How am I going to give myself um, a home that feels like me, that feels like, yeah. I just actually did a podcast with Roland. No, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get somebody to tag it. It's Ronald L. Banks. I forget what his YouTube channel is, but anyways, go to Clutterbug Podcast. He talks about one of the best ways to let go, help other people let go, is to help them identify their core values. So, what does your sister really value? Is it family? Does she want to have an empty kitchen table so she can have her family over? Does she want to have family movies? Is it crafting? Does she have a craft space that's in control? Sometimes identifying core values can really help people let go, but this is tough. I mean, I feel for you, Lisa. I feel for you, Lisa. Coming from a place of positivity is what I would recommend because you can't force somebody to do something if it's not their idea, unless you're paying them because you're their boss. But you know what I'm saying? Okay, let's see. We're going to get to two more questions really quick. And then we should do this again, though. Why don't we do more lives together? I love spending time with you guys. Rainy Wildflower. I love your name. Appreciate tips for people with ADHD, especially remembering where things are or establishing routines. So I love that. Do you want new tips for this? For me, my ADHD, a lot of people who have ADHD, I'm not visual, but they're really visual. So labels work. So many grown-ups are very like, ooh, I don't want my house to look like a classroom. I don't want labels. I don't like labels. Do you like clutter? Because guess what, friends? Labels are magical. If they're large enough to see across the room, subconsciously, you will put things back because the label tells your lizard brain, which is like your subconscious brain, hey, man, this is where the ketchup goes. So you label something condiments in your fridge, and that's always going to go back there. But this works for everything in your bathroom, in your office, all over the place. So these labels don't have to be permanent forever. But even temporary labels can help train your brain. And the other thing that really works, especially for ADHD, is timers, timer reminders. I I have the memory of a of a really bad something that doesn't have a memory. I can't remember an animal that has a crappy memory. But I don't remember what I had for breakfast. I don't remember anything ever. And so I certainly don't remember to start new habits or to put things away. I have to train my brain to do it subconsciously. And so alerts on my phone, using the calendar app, using timers, having Alexas or Google Homes to constantly remind me to do things over and over and over again. It's that repetitiveness of daily tidying, that repetitiveness of doing these routines because I've been reminded to do it, that now make it a subconscious habit that I now can do without the reminders. So you don't have to do this forever, you guys. You don't. Um, you just have to do this for a little bit. Okay. Tell us about your new place. We're moving in. It's exciting. We're doing a new house tour. Is it next week? No, it's the week after. The week after. I'm asking Emily because I don't have a good memory and she does. So not next week, but the week after, we're doing an empty home tour. So I can't wait to share that with you. Houses never look the same when they're empty and have no furniture, right? It's like all the flooring's different. And it needs a little TLC. It has a lot of weird doors. It's not an open concept house. It's like lots of little broken rooms, but I'm excited about the potential of this house. I'm excited for a walk-in closet. I almost cried about the fact that it has a bathtub. I haven't had a bathtub. I haven't had a bath in my own home in like 13 years, and having a bath is one of my favorite things in the world. Like every time we get a hotel, my husband's like, "Ew, you're gonna." I'm like, "I don't care, man. I'm in that bathtub. I have like 4 baths when we stay in a hotel a day because it's just like it's life's greatest pleasures for me." And so I'm just so thrilled about that. We sold this house to an incredible couple with 2 little girls. They're 2 and 4, and we've met them, and they're the cutest little things, and I'm so happy for this family, and Joe's over working on the new house now, and, we move in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that, and then every week, we're just gonna have little projects. We don't have any money now to fix up this house. And so everything's going to be on a budget. Furniture is like secondhand. I'm going to be fixing things up. I just got a light fixture off Kijiji that I'm going to be spray painting for a dining room chandelier. So sometimes, when you do it yourself, and you make something look nice with just elbow grease and some paint and a little bit of money, it makes you feel really proud. And I think that's what we need to do at this house is bloom where we're planted, make the best with what we have. And I can't wait to bring you along with that journey and hopefully motivate you to do the same thing. I think it's sometimes we wait until we can do it right, or we can renovate, or we can buy new this or buy that. But clean is beautiful. And there's a lot of things that we can do in our home, like declutter and organize, that don't cost us anything and can make a really big difference in the way we love our home, because we should love our home. So, yeah, thank you so much for spending time with me today. I loved hanging out with you guys. I really did. And next week, we have a huge video about decluttering lies. So I'm excited for that. And then the week after that, you're going to see that house tour. So thank you, Clutterbugs, for spending time with me, and I'll see you guys next time. Should we do an end story? Thank you guys so much for those of you who have stayed to the end. I don't really have an end story, but I will talk about Penny for a bit. You guys, my dog is a labradoodle. So she's a lab and a poodle mix. She has everything wrong with her, okay? She's allergic to everything. If you are like eating, I don't know, and a crumb falls on the floor and she eats that crumb, she will have diarrhea for a week. She has to have this fancy food. She can't eat anything that's anything, or she gets violently ill. She just got spayed. So she's sick with that. She had an eye infection. She has all these problems. She just got spayed. She's allergic to her stitches. Because of course she is. Not only is she allergic to like every food under the sun. She's allergic to gluten. She's allergic to sugar. She's allergic to most vegetables, all grains. She can't have any grains. She's allergic to the raw food that we bought her. It was so expensive. But also, she's allergic now to latex because because of course she is. So she has a onesie that she wears right now for her thing. She's got a cone on her head, and she's just She's she's hilarious. And I love her. So I got a hot mess dog that fits my mess life pretty well. So I just thought I'd share that with you. And if you guys can relate to a dog that is literally allergic to everything, including the outside, they think she's allergic to grass, because she's got rashes all over her. How is a dog allergic to grass? I don't know. Anyways, she takes Benadryl every day. I'll see you guys next time.